Graphing a linear inequality in the plane slope-intercept form. Okay, for any graphing of inequality, there's a few notes off here to the side. If it's not underlined, you use a dotted line to draw your graph. If the inequality is underlined, you use a solid line. If the inequality is less than, you shade below the line. If it's greater than, you shade above the line. So when we're going to graph this is in slope-intercept form. So when I have a slope-intercept form problem, I use 2 points to graph that. I will always use 0 because the number at the end, or the number that doesn't have a letter attached, is with 0. It's the y-intercept. So 0, -2. And then I use the denominator. Okay, so my denominator is 2. Here's the reason I use the denominator. If you use the denominator, then that actually cancels out the x and you do whatever's left. So this is -1 minus 2, which is a -3. So that's why I use the denominator. I don't have to build a table that way. It's just a whole lot easier because you only need 2 points to build a line. Okay, so 0, -2. Sorry, I don't know what I was thinking there for a minute. 0, -2 is here. 2, -3. 1, 2, 3 is here. I am going to connect those points using it's underlined, so I have to use, this inequality is underlined, so I'm going to use a solid line because it's underlined, and it's less than, so I'm going to color below the line. Okay, so a solid line, connecting these 2 points, and I'm going to shade below the line. Let me move this down here a little bit. I'm going to shade below the line. So I mean, just as long as we can tell it's below the line and you're good. And that one is finished. Okay. So this one is underlined, so it's going to be a solid line. And it's greater than. Greater than means you color above or on top of the line. Okay, so this can be rewritten as y is greater than or equal. I'm going to make a fraction out of my coefficient, which if there is no number in front, it's a 1. So I'm going to put a 1 underneath to make it a fraction. X plus 4. Okay, the first point I'm going to use is 0 because the number that doesn't have a letter attached goes with that. The second one I'm going to use is the denominator, because if I use the denominator, that scratches out the x, and then you do what's left. 1 plus 4 is 5. Okay, so 0, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 5, and I set a solid line, and I said I was going to color on top of that line. So just as long as I know where you're going with it, you're good. That's the answer. Okay, the next one. The inequality is not underlined, so I'm going to use a dotted line. And it's greater than, so I'm going to color above the line. Greater than is above, less than is below. So I'm going to use 0, and the number that doesn't have a letter attached is a 4. And then use my denominator, a 2, because that scratches out the x. And then I do what's left. -1 plus 4, that's like 4 take away 1, that's 3. Okay, so 0, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I said I'm using a dotted line and that I'm going to color above the line because it's greater than.